Hello everybody, today I'm going to be sharing my full NBA playoff prediction. I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on all of the playoff series, so let's get into it. We're going to be starting in the Western Conference, and the first playoff series we're going to be talking about is the OKC Thunder versus the Memphis Grizzlies. I really don't think Memphis can do much to stop OKC. I think Chet can shut down Zach Edey and Jaren Jackson Jr. in the paint with his DPOY level rim protection, and OKC has so many great perimeter defenders, they can always have somebody to at least slow down Ja and Desmond Bane. So I'm going Thunder in 5. Next is the Denver Nuggets versus the Los Angeles Clippers. I think this series will go to 7 games, and I think both sides have very good arguments. Personally, I think the Los Angeles Clippers will win just because of the combination of Kawhi and Harden and the great supporting cast around them with Zubac and the amazing 3-and-D with Norman Powell and Chris Dunn. I do think Jokic is amazing, and I think he will be the reason it goes to 7 games, but I just don't think the cast around him is good enough to beat the Clippers. I think the main problem for Denver is their defense. I just don't think it's good enough to contain Kawhi or Harden or even Zubac. For Denver to win, MPJ has to make his threes, and Russell Westbrook has to, make his layups, and Jamal Murray has to play like an all-star, and I don't just think you can do that off an injury where you missed a good chunk of the season. And I'm not saying Denver can't win. I think Jokic can carry them to a win. I just think they're not consistent enough to win. So I think the Los Angeles Clippers will win in a super close 7 games. Next is the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think this will be another close series, but I'm going with the Lakers to win in 6. Luka is my favorite player, so I am a little biased, but I do really think that the Lakers can win. I think their offense is so good with Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves. I don't think Minnesota's defense is quite good enough to beat them. The main factor in this series is can Minnesota at least slow down Luka, and I just don't think they can if it's Jaden McDaniels or Anthony Edwards guarding him, and I think we saw that last year in the Western Conference Finals. I also don't trust Julius Randle in the playoffs, and I don't think Rudy Gobert can do much to help. I do think Anthony Edwards will play great, and I think that's the reason it goes to 6 because he's just so good. So I think the Lakers will win in 6. For the last first-round series in the West is the Golden State Warriors versus the Houston Rockets. This is my biggest upset because I have the Rockets in 7. My main reason is I think Houston's rebounding is just insane. When they have the double big lineup with Steven Adams and Sengun, they get 45% of their offensive rebound. That's just crazy. The big issue for Houston is their offense. They're 21st in half-court offense in the league, and I do think that is a big issue, but I think their defense makes up for it. Amin Thompson is one of, if not the best perimeter defenders in the league. In the 41 possessions that Steph Curry was defended by Amin Thompson this season, he averaged 9.1 points per 75 possessions, and he had a true shooting percentage of just 31%. That's just crazy. I also don't think Golden State's bigs can do anything against Adams and Sengun, whether it be Kevon Looney or Quentin Post. I think for the Warriors to win, Jimmy Butler has to have an amazing series, which I think he probably will, but I just don't think in the non-Jimmy Butler minutes, Golden State can do much. That's why I have the Rockets winning in 7, and I do think that Golden State can win. I just think so many things have to go good for them. Now on to the East with the first series we're going to be looking at, the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Miami Heat. There's not much to say here, it's Cavs in 4, they're just better in every way. The next series is the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Indiana Pacers. This is another super close series that I think goes to 7, but I'm taking the Pacers. Any team that has Giannis can't be beat easily. He's just that good, and I think the Bucks supporting cast is just not good besides Damian Lillard, and we've seen plenty that him and Giannis just don't work well together. The third best player is Kyle Kuzma. Do I even need to say anything more? I think the biggest problem for the Pacers is their defense. They really don't have much to stop Giannis, but besides that, I think they're better at everything else. Also, the Tyrese Halliburton hate is so dumb. He had a bad start, but he's amazing, and I think he will be great. So that's why I have the Pacers winning in 7. The next series is the New York Knicks versus Detroit Pistons. I like to think the Pistons will win this series, but realistically, they probably won't. I like their physical play style, but the issue is, without Cade Cunningham, who's creating for their offense? And the Knicks do kind of have the same issue, but not as bad, because without Jalen Brunson, they don't have much for offense, but the Knicks are just better overall. And I don't like saying this, but I don't think the Pistons have enough experience, and I'm just a little nervous about Cade in the playoffs. I do think if Cade has a good series, they could win, but I'm going Knicks in 6. Next is the Boston Celtics versus Orlando Magic. Again, it's the Celtics. Orlando might have good defense, but they have no offense. Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner would have to have a generational series to even get one game. It's Celtics in 4. Okay, we're done with the first round, so let's go back to the West for the first second round series. It's the OKC Thunder versus the Los Angeles Clippers. I think I'm going to Thunder in 6. I really like OKC this season, and the best thing about them is their defense. They just have an answer for anything that the Clippers can throw at them. You have Kawhi and Harden. OKC has the best perimeter defense in the league. You have a great big man in Zubac. OKC has a DPOY level rim protector in Chet Holmgren. I just think OKC is great in everything. Plus, you have the probably MVP in SGA. I'm not saying that the Clippers can't win, first of all, but a lot of things have to go right. First of all, Kawhi can't get hurt, and him and Harden have to play great for them to win. That's why I have OKC in 6. Next is the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Houston Rockets. Personally, I'm going Lakers in 6. I know I just said the Rockets beat the Warriors because of their defense, but I don't think it's good enough to stop the Lakers. The Lakers' big three is just so good, you can't guard them all. Amin guards Luka, Dylan Brooks guards Braun, and who guards Reeves? Jalen Green? And then what about Rui Hachimura, DFS, or Gabe Vincent? I do think rebounding is a weakness for the Lakers, but I don't think it's as bad as the Warriors because the Lakers are still pretty big with Braun, Luka, Vincent, and Rui. The Lakers' defense is a weakness, but it still isn't as bad since the Rockets' half-court offense is so bad. That's why I have the Lakers in 6. Now back to the East, the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Indiana Pacers. This one should be pretty easy for Cleveland. I think the Pacers' defense is not good enough to stop Cleveland's offense. Also, who's stopping Cleveland's bigs in Evan Mobley and Jared Allen? Obi Toppin? Miles Turner? I think Halliburton will carry them to 1 win, so I'm going Cleveland in 5. Next is the Boston Celtics versus New York Knicks. I think this could be close if Kristaps Porzingis or Jaylen Brown gets hurt, but I do think it will be Boston in 6. The two problems with the Knicks is the offense without Brunson. They just can't do much without him. The other problem is when Brunson is in, I think Boston can just do what they did to Luka in the finals last year and just hunt for the switch and ISO. And if Cat's in, he's not helping too much either. So I'm going Boston in 6. Now for the Western Conference Finals, it's the OKC Thunder versus the Los Angeles Lakers. This would be a really close one, but I'm winning OKC in 7. I think OKC's biggest strength for this matchup is their depth. They can always have an elite perimeter defender to guard Luka, Braun, or Reeves. This really could go either way. The biggest factor is how Luka plays. If he plays well, the Lakers win. If he doesn't, it's OKC. So I'm giving it to OKC in 7, just barely. Onto the Eastern Conference with the Boston Celtics versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. If this is the conference finals, this will be so good. This could go any direction. I'm going with the Celtics just because they're proven in the playoffs, but if any of the Celtics starting 5 gets injured, it's Cleveland. I can't even really make an argument for the Celtics. It's just too close, but I will go Celtics in 7. No, for the finals, I have the Boston Celtics versus the OKC Thunder. If this is the finals, this would be amazing. This would go to 7, and I'm going OKC. I think their defense and depth is amazing. Plus, they have the MVP in SGA. I think a key for OKC to win is J-Dub has to have a good series as that second scoring option. I think even if there's injuries, Jason Tatum can go off and really put up a fight against OKC. But I think I'm going OKC in 7. So that's my playoff predictions. Like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts below.